All right, you guys asked for it. We're going to continue the Army of Satan series. We have now made it to, what is this number? 11. I ran out of fingers. I've got no more. Okay, there we go. 11. Bam. This one is called The Dangers of TV. So we're going to learn about Satan's influence on TV.
The greatest hypnotist on planet Earth is a oblong box in the corner of the room. It is constantly telling us what to believe is real.
The sharing of biased and
false news has become all too common on social media.
More alarming, some media outlets are true without checking facts first.
Unfortunately, some members of the media use their platforms to push their own personal bias and agenda to control exactly what people think. And this is extremely dangerous to our democracy.
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 This is extremely
dangerous to our democracy.
This is extremely dangerous to our democracy.
Dangerous.
Extremely dangerous to our democracy.
Extremely
dangerous to our democracy.
What's happening?
Okay, what the heck? That is weird. That's weird that they do that. Of course, yeah, that's super creepy that they do that. I don't know what the whole... Well, I think it's like, if it's a nation, like if that was America, right? And all the broadcast companies speak together and they're under one like political affiliate, they're like, okay, this is the message we want to get pumped out into the like, you know, stratosphere. We want every American to know that it's dangerous to be on social media, but it's okay to be watching the news at home. Make sure you're watching the box at home, right? So it doesn't seem unrealistic, although part of me is thinking, I was like, could AI have possibly like manipulated like a video like that to do all those things? But I was seeing this, they were doing, the first time I saw this thing where they like synced up all the newscasts was during the pandemic. They were using it because they were trying to pump out the same message, and that was the first time I recognized it. This is more just about attacking social media.
Okay, maybe, but yeah. I noticed back when, you remember when they like randomly aliens were real for like a week?
Yeah.
And then they disappeared again? Like they were like all over the news. Everyone was like, so aliens and footage and aliens.
Yeah.
Like, we admit they're real. And then it disappeared. Nobody gives a crap again.
Yeah.
Weirdly, during that time, it was either about the alien thing or that rando balloon that floated over top that came and went again mysteriously. But during that time, I remember all the news stuffs were like bombshell report, bombshell report, bombshell report. And I was like, what the they all say bombshell? Yeah. And then even Joe Rogan, when I was watching it, he was like, bombshell report, blah, blah. And I'm like, why that wording? Maybe it is a hypnotism thing.
Yeah.
Maybe there's like this just weird kind of Rockefellering, I don't know who the big elites are that you're supposed to be concerned about, but maybe there's just a script that gets sent down. That's obviously what they're talking about.
Yeah,
So
I wouldn't put it past them.
What's happening is we are being hypnotized from cradle to grave by people like this. Newsreaders, politicians, teachers, lecturers. We're being programmed to see the world in a certain way.
Sihr is a reality in the world, and people practice magic. And one of the practices is through the eyes, seducing the eyes in television and spectacle. It's the sihr of the ayun. تُعْرَضَ الْفِتْنُ عَلَى الْقُلُوبِ كَالْحَصِيرِ. Now I want to interpret this hadith. Hasir is a mat. It's a matrix. It's like this. It has vertical and horizontal, and it's a mat. And the Prophet said that the fitan will be shown to the hearts like a mat. Udan, udan. It has two lines, a horizontal and vertical line. This is the TV set. This is the set. It's a hasir. It's a mat. And the Prophet said the fitan will be shown to the hearts like a mat. كالحصير. And this is how Shaitan is destroying the hearts, by showing them the fitan on these films and on TV over and over again until people just become accustomed to violence. If you look, all of the research that we have indicates that media violence has increased in quantity, but it's also more graphic, more sexual, and more sadistic. This is the khutawat of Shaitan. If you watch films from the 1940s, the 1930s, the 1950s, you can see it's slow. This is how Shaitan gets people. يَسْتَدْرِجُهُمْ. He pulls them step by step. These are his khutawat. You start watching films, they introduce violence. These are the khutawat of Shaitan. And Shaitan wants violence and sex are his two, these are because they're very powerful for the human psyche. And these are the two ways that he can really corrupt the heart. This is from the United States, so I'm using statistics from the US, but it's all coming to you, unfortunately. So 80% of R-rated movies, right? 70% of restricted video games, and 100% of music with explicit content, warning labels, were being marketed to children under 17. So they know what they're doing. These are the minions of Shaitan, whether they're conscious of it or not. وَلَكِنَّهُمْ لَا يَشْعُرُونَ. They're unconscious. If you say, لَا تُفْسِدُوا فِي الْأَرْضِ قَالُوا إِنَّمَا نَحْنُ مُصْلِحُونَ. We believe in freedom of speech. We believe in artistic expression. We're not sowing corruption. No, they're the corruptors. أَلَا إِنَّهُمْ هُمُ الْمُفْسِدُونَ. But they're unaware. So many of them are literally minions. By the time the average child in the United States is 18 years old, they will have seen 200,000 acts of violence and 16,000 murders. Our children have been programmed to be violent. This is the average time spent watching television, 5.11 hours in the United States every day. 99% of households that possess at least one TV, 2.4 TV sets in the average US household, right? Because some have 5, some have one in every room. 56% of Americans who pay for cable TV, 49% say they watch too much TV. Amazing. 34 hours per week over the age of 2 spent in front of a TV. 24 hours per week, 2 to 11 spent watching TV. 54% of 4 to 6-year-olds who, when asked to choose between watching TV and spending time with their fathers, preferred television. Average American youth, 900 hours in school, 1,200 hours watching TV. Right? By the time they get out of high school. It's amazing. 16,000 number of 30-second TV commercials seen in a year. And you know what they call these? Now an important message from our sponsor. Message in Arabic is risala. This is the real reason they want you to buy and consume their goods, because it's a consumer civilization. Cartoons are very serious. This cartoon was done, it's for adults. The man that does this cartoon, literally, he's an atheist, doesn't believe in anything, makes fun of everything, cynicism, everything's a joke. Kids watch this show. It's a very sophisticated show. This is all about ghosts and demons and the occult. The Scooby-Doo has all these occult themes in it. You've got all these cartoons here now, and your kids are growing up on this crap. And you really have to think seriously, garbage in, garbage out. You have to think seriously about what's being done to your children's minds if you're letting them watch TV. Children imitate what they see. Now, Maleficent, you could see Disney, they used to have films where the witch was evil, and now they entice them. This is the fitna. They make a beautiful, they used to make them old hags. If you see the old film, the witch was old hag, but we get them by degrees. Now they take somebody that many people consider.
What do you think of that term, garbage in, garbage out? I think unconsciously, yes, if you absorb too much stuff, I think it could be, you could be taking in something, not seeing the repercussions of like what's coming out in your day-to-day actions. You might, by hypnosis, which we kind of talked about at the beginning there, like be hypnotized a bit into taking on some of the characteristics of the things that we're watching. And you know what that reminds me of is back in the 90s when the American Pie videos were coming out. Remember all the American Pie movies? And then it started to feel like, because I was like mid-teens, I want to say, like my mid-teenage. Then all of a sudden, as we were like getting into like those later senior years in the college, it was like the people around me were like taking on the characters of the people in those movies. Like there was like every group had a Stifler and every group had a, like whatever, Jim. Yeah. It was ridiculous. I was like, everyone's acting out. You've all been hypnotized.
Yes, I'm glad you mentioned that because there's a whole lot of that goes. But that goes on with anything. I feel like I've seen that in so many ways. Like, remember the movie 300?
Yeah.
All of a sudden at work on Monday, the boss is like, got a beard, and extra. Like, tonight we're dying in hell. We're gonna work late tonight. Like don't watch movies on the weekend because then we fix work on Monday. Don't be so influenced. But I, of course, am influenced too.
Yeah.
Yeah. One of my favorite movies when I was younger was Fight Club, which is a good movie for, seeing, I liked it. I thought it was a cool way to hold a mirror up to society and the emptiness they're in. But this garbage in, garbage out thing, I take contention with that term, actually. Very politely and respectfully. I'm just going to talk about that for a moment. Yeah. Garbage in, garbage out. And it shows a little boy's head. Garbage. God forbid you were the type of kid that did have a bad upbringing or something. You were sat in front of a TV. It's like, well, garbage. He's garbage now. Garbage will come out of them. And I know that there's always somebody to come and correct what I'm saying. It's not like that. We control the narrative. We say garbage in, garbage out, but it doesn't mean what you're saying, Justin. It doesn't mean that. Listen. Never mind your explanation. Listen to what I'm saying for one moment here. In nature, if all there is garbage, the animals will find the garbage and they'll make nests out of the garbage.
Yeah.
Whatever happens to this planet, if we nuke it to death, there will be creatures that learn how to eat nuclear waste and evolve to do that. I would suggest for a moment that there's no such thing as garbage. There's not even such thing as it. If all there is to consume is this, then that's what you evolve to process. Yeah. And whatever gets squozen out the other side, you need to only look at your life without influence of some finger wagging me or anyone else telling you how it is. You need only to look at your own life. But a lot of people are living it up. A lot of people are living in nirvana. A lot of people are living in beauty, but somebody's coming along and calling what they're doing garbage, and that makes it so to them because they're that much influenced. I would suggest don't be influenced by anything, and then there's no such thing as garbage for you. You can either do a marathon of watching TV, or you can become an ascetic that doesn't watch TV for 5 years and doesn't even own a TV. But there's no such thing as garbage. That's my suggestion.
All right. Hey, before we just continue on, before I forget, I don't want to miss it. I thought it was really interesting that they pointed out the mat thing in the Quran, and then they translated that as like the devices, the boxes through which we are like getting all this stuff. Now, just throwing it out there as this rectangular shaped thing that you're pointing out isn't a mat, and it said mat, isn't a mat things that Muslims pray on and bow their heads down to? So just a thing to think about. I'm not saying that as like I'm just saying just something to think about. Interesting.
Right. A lot of this, and to weigh it out, a lot of this, and I think you would agree with me, a lot of this is interesting. A lot of this is good warnings. And in some sense, garbage is totally real.
Yeah.
Deal with paradox, man. Life is paradoxical. It's both sometimes.
Very beautiful woman, and they put her in Baphomet's mask, and then it becomes seductive. He takes people by degrees. I mean, what is this? Why are they doing this? Why are you wearing horns? We're human beings. We're not demons. And then you can see these signs. Why do they use these symbols? Why is there so much one-eye symbolism amongst these entertainers? I've never seen any normal person do that. Why do they do this? Because this is their religion. They worship the one-eyed God. Why are they preparing our children for one-eyed characters? Why? Why do they all do these one eyes? What's going on? Why are all their symbols with one eye?
I hope not.
And you know, when you're watching television, you go into a brainwave state that is akin to being in a hypnotic trance. And so much is fed through that system subliminally as well as actually to get us to see the world in a certain way. They want to manipulate what is in our heads so that we see the world they want us to perceive.
إن من علامة الساعة وأشراطها أن تواصل الأطباق وأن تقطع الأرحام. This to me is one of the clear prophetic miracles of the Prophet ﷺ. Because I believe that the atbaq, and you know in Algeria, what do they call the dish? Tabaq. They call the satellite dish in North Africa atbaq. And that is a correct ta'rib. In the East they call them suhoon or dishat. They call them suhoon, and that's an incorrect hadith because a sahan is a flat dish. The tabaq is a concave dish. And so atbaq is the correct meaning. And the Prophet used the very word that's used for satellite communications, muwasalat. He said, tuwasal al-atbaq, that the dishes will be communicating continuously and people will sever their family ties. In other words, people will stay home and watch television on satellite dish and they won't go visit their neighbors. This is an amazing hadith to me.
Just checking in here real quick. That's pretty profound. That is pretty profound. Are you telling me that the Quran says satellite dish? No, the Quran does not say satellite dish. I'm confused. It doesn't say satellite dish?
It does not say
I thought
satellite
that
dish.
for a second there that they were suggesting that it says satellite dish.
No.
In which case I'd say, this is a magical book. They knew what the word was way back then.
Yeah. No.
What did they actually say?
I don't know. I
Sounds
have
like
not. I have listened to all the Quran. I've read a bunch of the Quran, but I have the word satellite dish is not in there. But I get what they're shooting for here. And look, I understand that, like many of the things talked about in this series, overindulgence into anything, and especially the topics that they talk about in this series, can become things that cripple your life and hurt your life if you let them consume you and overtake you. So this is more like a warning series. Also, it's very long, so we're only in like 1/3 of the series because I think there's like 30-something episodes. But one sec here, that I hear what it's saying, but I don't like trying to find a demon behind every corner.
Well, there might be demons behind every corner. There could be demons everywhere. But and here's the thing. I'm not denying some kind of sense of like, it would be a good argument to be like, well, think about it. Somebody being revealed, getting a revelation back then, shown a square. You know, you don't know the mind of the people thousands of years ago. They might have looked at that and been like, the best way to describe a TV is a square. Like, that's pretty head on.
Yeah.
The best way to describe this is a dish.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe. Except for, what is the thought behind where this revelation was coming from? Was it coming from God?
I think that's the intent, or that's what I think.
This is a peculiar way for God to communicate.
Yeah.
Because why wouldn't he, if he's already going to give you a vision of the future, why wouldn't he be like, and by the way, it'll be called a satellite dish. You know, and by the way, it'll have a thing in the front with that you can tell it's not for eating out of because it's a robot. You know, like I'm just asking questions to get the mind to open up a little bit. Yes, in one sense, it's for sure could be premonition, like, you know. And on the other side, I would have to know more about it. Or is everyone being fair here?
Here, you know what? Maybe part of it is, I know, because I remember back in the Christian days, same questions would be asked about revelations and some of the things that John saw. And
Tell me.
People would say that the prophet was seeing visions given to them by God and writing these things down, right? But the prophet had no context for what he was seeing, what God was giving him. So he was associating it with the things that he knew about.
Okay, that's already, I feel like we established that.
Yeah.
That should be... But if God's going to go out of way to be like, I'm going to give you visions, but not explain them. This is going to be hilarious. It'll only come from the way he's like, why the confusion?
Yeah.
Why not
I
throw
agree.
in, why
I
not
agree.
throw
It's
in there,
frustrating.
2000, by the way, 2000 years ago, they had something close enough to be like, music will come out of little squares that you put the strings into your ears. The snakes go into your ears to play music from a square thing. Why is it? It's like fleeting and not like you could, if God is in charge of this, he could have made it unarguably the case.
Yes.
So it does fall into the realm of requiring, if you're going to believe it like a belief, if you're going to believe it like a religion, it falls into the category of faith needing.
Yes.
Religion has to require faith to some degree.
Yes.
If you're going to do logic, do logic. If you're going to do religion, do faith. But that steps out of the realm to me of logic. It's a weird pairing, those things to me, religion and logic.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, go for it. Go nuts. You can mix science. You can be a crazy scientist artist with everything in life.
Yeah.
But I would be interested if anybody watching this knows the verses he's talking about specifically, and if they have a different take. If they're like, actually, I've read that verse, and I always thought that it meant like the food. There was some significance about the food, and that the food was going to connect people, and because it says dish and it has to do with food. This is a weird kind of interpretation of it. There's always could possibly be a different interpretation of it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
He's got a snake on his shoulder.
Yeah. He's trying to look evil.
Television's a goddamn amusement park. Television is a circus, a carnival, a traveling troupe of acrobats, storytellers, dancers, singers, jugglers, sideshow freaks, lion tamers, and football players. We're in the boredom-killing business. So if you want the truth, go to God. Go to yourselves, because that's the only place you're ever going to find any real truth. But man, you're never going to get any truth from us. We'll tell you anything you want to hear. We lie like hell. We'll tell you that Kojak always gets the killer and that nobody ever gets cancer in Archie Bunker's house. And no matter how much trouble the hero is in, don't worry, just look at your watch. At the end of the hour, he's going to win. We'll tell you any shit you want to hear. We deal in illusions, man. None of it is true. But you people sit there day after day, night after night, all ages, colors, creeds. We're all you know. You're beginning to believe the illusions we're spinning here. You're beginning to think that the tube is reality and that your own lives are unreal. You do whatever the tube tells you. You dress like the tube. You eat like the tube. You raise your children like the tube. You even think like the tube. This is mass madness, you maniacs. In God's name, you people are the real thing. We are the illusion. So turn off your television sets. Turn them off now. Turn them off right now. Turn them off and leave them off. Turn them off right in the middle of the sentence I'm speaking to you now. Turn them off.
The storm comes, there's no protection. Now there's no roof because the satellite goes through the roof. So it's beamed into your house. You don't have the protection of your home anymore. What did the Ashab al-Kahf do? They fled to the cave. Right? And that will protect you from the Dajjal. Be in your cave. Guard yourself against these things. Your home is Darul Islam. Guard your home. Protect your home. Don't invite Shaitan in. Protect your children. They're pure. They're innocent. Look at them. They're beautiful. They're ready to learn La ilaha illallah Muhammad Rasulullah by fitrah. They'll believe what you tell them. But if you put them in front of these things, they'll stop believing.
All right, let's get the biggest irony out of the way is the fact that it was like all a beef on like TV and stuff like that, and yet it is being displayed through a TV.
We're literally reacting on a TV, through a TV. I told you about my premonition. I drew a picture forever ago that I didn't know what it meant, but I drew TV. And it was like a guy watching a TV within a TV. And then that's what we do. We watch a tiny screen and you watch us watching a thing. And it's just I drew this as a premonition long before we even started this.
Yeah.
And so there's some mystical things afoot. What do you do about all of it? My question at the end of it is, how do you feel, for Pete's sake? How do you feel? How do you feel one moment to the next? How do you feel when you're enjoying that, preacher guy go off the rails? That's real entertaining stuff, right? But then is there a downerness afterwards? Let that heart that's in the middle, be guided somewhat towards the truth. And is it guided by peace in all this and this giant army of Satan thing that we're doing here? Is your heart being guided by peace, or is it being guided by fear? What would Muhammad really be? What would Christ really be like? I bet you sometimes he was calm. Sometimes he was calm as a cucumber, and sometimes he was flipping tables, telling people how it is, just like you. And I hope you enjoyed this. That's all I hope. I hope you enjoyed whatever this was.
All right. Well, guys,
enjoy your life.
Let us know if you want us to continue the series. So
it's hot. It's hot here. Every time we do these, I sweat.
You let us know by hitting the like button, subscribing, sharing this with your friends and everybody. Until next time,
stay spiritual.